Hey, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit, one half of the team that powers DungeonSwag.com. Now, everybody that you know probably has these that plays D&D. These are like the generic Chess X dice boxes, and these actually make pretty amazing miniature displays. Let me get a mini here. Oh, that's too small. Where's that one I use for generics? Oh, here's my WizKids measurement mini that I use to show the size of minis. So everybody has people they know that have minis they love, or ones you've gifted them, or they've got from a special website, or they bought from DungeonSwag.com and painted, and you want to display them. So that's a pretty easy thing to do. These boxes are actually perfect for that. So what you want to do first of all is you want to get like really cheap magnets, and you want to know the polarity versus your minis. I already know because I set it down face up. I know this side has to be up on this box to work with the polarity of the minis that I'm going to be using it with. And you can always come back and do this at the end too. This doesn't have to be done as step one, because you don't see this part. But you want to snip off any of the sticky uppies, get you a good sized dab of glue in there, and you want to shove your, I almost put it in upside down after all that. You want to shove your magnet in and rub it around so it gets seated in there well. Okay, and that's kind of there forever now. Now we want to start on this. So in order for the glue to stick on this well, and for our base that we're going to put in here to stick well, we want to cut a couple lines. This is real soft plastic. You don't want to go all the way to the edge like I did right there though. That is probably not good. And then you just want to grab your wire brush and rough up that whole surface. Okay, now we have a good place for bonding, so we're going to want a stick, and I have a plastic arrow heart thing here we're going to use. And we're going to start with our dirt layer. And we're just going to come out kind of following this circle here. And you can go over it a little bit, but you want to at least get around the edges of that circle so you can cover up the textures that came with that. Okay. You don't want that extra glue for sure, I promise. Wipe that off. Alright, now we're going to just drop it in here real quick. Baking soda. Boop. Hair dryer. Knock all the loose dust out. You want to wipe it off a little bit. So you got your good surface here. You want to make sure that's all dry. Okay. I've never actually done this before, just so you know. It's just an idea I was having because my buddy's always borrowing these to put stuff in. So once you get your glue in there, you might want to put a small rock somewhere. So I'm going to do just that. I'm going to get a small rock. I'm just going to well, let me put the small rock down first. I'm going to put it right on the edge so that I know it's not going to interfere with the mini base. Just a drop of glue. And then we want that glue to cover the whole rock and bond down here. There we go. So that's going to be nice. And sturdy. Alright, let's put our glue away and let's do something else so that we can paint the outside and the paint will stick to it. Let's get our wire brush back out and hit up this outer edge. Get that little dab of spider web from the glue. Alright. We got this pretty prepped. I'm going to tape this to or glue this to something so I can work on it. So it's just some glue. We're just going to stick it to that magnet for now. And that's so I can hold this while I'm going to prime this real fast. just with matte black. Oh, my power went out. Am I still recording? Yeah, we have a storm coming in and out. All right. For those of you that didn't know this, you can use your kids' old pants or your old pants or old long sleeve shirts and make like a temporary priming glove when you want to prime stuff or anything you want to touch quickly that you don't, you know. All right, so we want to leave the inside of this predominantly black, I think. So let's get rid of our, we're not going to need our glue again. We got our magnet underneath here. So let's get a new piece of tape and let's decorate this. You could print out little things or whatever you want to do to decorate this. If you wanted to cut out magic cards and put it so that it has a back wall, so when you're looking at it on a shelf, there's a scenery in there, you can do that. I'm just showing you the basic concept that I kind of am thinking of as I go. So I'm just going to use this burnt umber craft paint and a crappy brush. I don't use my good brushes on terrain, man. I just use my crappy ones. And we just want to paint that circle and only that circle. So take your time. There you go. I say there you go. I should say there I go. You want this to be like a nice even coat. Not super thick because we don't want it to take forever to dry. Once you get this outline, you can pull any spots where you were too wet. And you can pull that around and cover up. So, one of my oldest friends in the world, Daryl, really wants special miniatures for every character he plays. And he always wants to display them, and he keeps them in these. He gets a little piece of sticky tack, and he tacks them in. Like I said, just everywhere you got the stuff. Alright, so that's going to look good. Now we're not doing miniatures today, so that means we can use my cheapy blow dryer thing. I know we don't get to use that when we're doing minis, especially with those speed paints. That's not your friend. But with this kind of stuff, yeah, we can use the blow dryer to move to the next phase quickly. Move my rocks away. If we don't need them, we don't need them. Alright. I'm just going to blow that real quick, get it good and dry. We're going to come back with a lighter brown. Let's get a piece of cardboard out here. Whoa! We're going to dry this brush off pretty good. Get a little bit of that. We're going to spread that around. We don't want to cover it. We just want to do some color change and lighten it up in spots. And we don't want uniformity. We don't want to pull it all in one direction. We just kind of want to get it to where we have different colors going on here. And if there's a little bit of damp that you didn't dry well, that's okay, man. Just leave it. We're just making this look like an inconsistent so that not every piece of dirt is the exact same color. And then we're going to come back and we're going to dry brush this a little bit lighter. And for that, we do want to steal 1 drop of that. And this is called khaki. It's the same cheap crack paint, crack cocaine paint, craft paint, I mean. So we're going to get some of that. Can you see? We're going to get some of that. We're going to get some of that. We're going to catch a really nice mid-tone. We're just going to hit some of these higher spots again. Let me wipe that off better. Oh, crap, you. Alright. We're just touching some spots to make it like a little bit different shade of dirt. And then we're going to come with this, lighten it up one more time. And this time we are going to do a real dry brush. So let's wipe as much of that off as we can. And then let's come back over the whole thing. We want to hit everywhere now. Okay? Alright, now we got to worry about that rock. So I do all my rocks and dirt kind of the same if you haven't noticed. So we're going to get that pavement I use all the time. We're going to wash our brush out a little bit. And you just need the littlest dab to cover this whole thing. Be careful not to get it on your ground there, you know. Okay. Same thing when you do anything wet. We gotta hit with the blow dryer. If you guys have a bunch of these that you don't want, you can feel free to send these to me. If you want to get my address, just hop on our Discord. It'll be in the description. And I know I have craft paints, but I kind of like in this, I've been using this uniform gray a lot on my rocks on the minis, and I like it so much. So we're going to use that uniform gray and a dot of this ash gray. I'm going to wipe a lot of that off. We're just going to touch the rock in some of the spots. Just to break it up a little bit. And we're going to get that ash gray. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to wipe a lot more of it off now. We're just going to touch it in some spots. And then we're going to get our khaki and that last little bit of ash gray we used. And we're going to wipe most of that off. It's going to be more like your traditional dry brush at this point. You're just going to tap it. Just tap it. So now we got the inside looking pretty slick. Let's see. I'll make this for Daryl because he's my guy that loves these. And I think he'll really appreciate it. So his favorite color is blue. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a nice dark blue. This is Admiral Blue. Daryl is not an admiral, nor has he ever served on any kind of star fleet that I'm aware of, or any kind of naval fleet. But he does like blue. So we're just gonna I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of wishing I'd used miniature paint. It coats more evenly and it's more predictable. But again, we can come back and do a second coat, so, or a third if necessary. We just want it to look nice and uniform. My gosh, I'm about ready for bed. I was up at 4 something this morning. Drove 3 hours away to one of my sites in Ohio. Had some adventure there. And came home. Had a few hundred cups of coffee. I came down and unboxed some, well, not some, the June box of Dungeon Slag Minis, and I had a lot of fun with that. I really, really do. Even though I picked the minis, you would not believe how much fun I have opening them and putting them together. I'm like a damn child. Now, before you hit this with a hair dryer, you want to make sure you got any big lumps and bubbles off, okay? Lumps and bubbles will not look nice. And you want all your paint going the same direction. Alright, I think we're good enough to set this down and hit this with the hair dryer. You can see that's nice and dry. There's no shinies. And we're going to come back, like I said, and we're going to do a second coat to really make that blue look uniform and nice. I don't know if we're going to have to do a third coat, and that's okay if we do. This is a short craft anyways. This is just something. I had some of these down here because he had asked me to dig some out, and I saw them sitting there, and I was like, oh, I got to take those upstairs. And I was like, but wait, maybe I could do something with that real quick. I'm sweating like a dog. You would never believe that I ever lived in Georgia. Because this West Virginia heat ain't nothing, and it's kicking the you know what out of me. Yeah, if you guys want to send me a bunch of these, I would love that. I think I want to start trying to put all the Dungeon Swag minis in these. A lot of them probably wouldn't fit, like some of the big boys like the Orcs and stuff, but there are plenty that will. And I just kind of have them on the shelves with all my other thousands of miniatures, but I'd like to have them like kind of displayed special. Let me think about how I want to do that, because I don't know if I want to do it with something like this. Alright, I think 2 coats is going to do it on that. So go ahead and put your blue away. Wiped a little bit you splashed on your arm off, and grab your blow dryer. And we're probably going to see a good even coat here. If you look at that when it dries, see how that shine disappears? You see that? Looks good. Now we need some way to show the character's name or whatever's going to be displayed on here. So before we clear coat this, yeah, I think that paint's bonded good. We need to figure out how we're going to do that. So my simple solution is going to be this. I'm going to lay it down flat. And then the name can be written in marker. Now, if you are not a professional tape user, you might want to consider measuring this or making a little cardboard slit to do this. But as cocky as I am, I'm just going to do it this and hope it looks good. And if it's bad, well, we'll have learned a lesson, right? Alright, let's look. It looks pretty square. Looks pretty square. So we're going to get white. miniature paint because we want to do this in the least amount of coats possible. I'm going to put that brush away and grab this regiment brush because it coats, it helps keep a real nice coat. So we'll do one thin coat with this. It's a very thin and even coat the best we can without pulling up a bunch of that blue paint if we can help it. Which actually I don't think we should be pulling up any of that blue paint. Who knows? I could be wrong. We're going to hit that with the blow dryer. Oh, you can see some of that blue bled through. It's a good thing that we planned on doing a second coat, right? We might have to do a third coat since this is white over dark blue. Didn't really bleed through that time, so I think one coat more should be adequate. All right. We're going to hit this with the air again. And let's see if our plan with the masking tape worked or if it pulls off the blue. I think it looks okay. I pulled off a little bit of blue. And it wasn't perfectly square. Alright, mistakes were made. Again, making a little stencil and measuring is probably the wise way to do this. I am not the master of knowledge. So we are going to come back with that blue again and do a little touch-up work. And that's okay. I hope this is admirable blue. So we're just going to get our brush and do some touch-up work. The clear coat will seal all this in and lock it up pretty good. Probably should have let it clear coated it before I did the white. Lesson learned. Lesson learned. I make so many mistakes when I'm doing stuff. Like, I make bad decisions all the time. I usually don't do a craft for the first time as a video. Or at least not, I might not do... I might have done it once before or something. I don't mean I practice it, but I mean, it's something I've dealt with or I've done something similar. There are some that I don't, but a lot of them I do. Alright, so I kind of squared it off and fixed the mistakes. I got a little bit of spots that I wiped off while I was flipping it around. Touch those up. Oh, something bad happened there. You see that little bit of lightness? It's because I did not rinse my brush out well. Laziness will kick you in the butt every time. So let's get that back to the right color of dark blue. Alright. Let's blow dry this bad dab and get a look at it and see where we're at. Not bad, not bad. Alright. We're almost ready to clear coat it. One more step. This is a fun step. Super fun step. We're going to get a little bit of this Elmer's clear glue. You don't have to use Elmer's, but your glue should be clear for this. If you want the same result I'm going to get in a minute here, let's get our cardboard. Dabo glue. Crappy brush. And let's put a little bit of grass on this bad boy. And this is similar to how I do miniature bases, you know what I mean? If you watch me do minis, you'll see I do something very similar with that. You want this to be wet enough that it's sticky, but not so thick that it's not going to dry quickly. We're going to get this. We're just going to sprinkle a little bit on there. Okay. And you want to just kind of tap it a little bit, tap it. So we have something like that. Looks good, looks nice, looks okay. We could put a little bush on there if we wanted to. Let's try that. Let's try to get a little bush on there. Just some of this little Spanish moss. Let's just get a little ball of that. Let's make a little bush. So when you do the Spanish moss bush, what you want to do is you want to get your super glue. You want to wear rubber gloves like I'm not doing. You want to dip your moss, get it wet and saturated, and stick it where you want your bush using your gloves, and absorb as much of that up into there as you can, so that'll solidify. And then if you have like a little weird piece sticking out where your thing locks up, where are my snippers? Oh, there they are up here. Get a little weird piece sticking out, just snip that off. Alright, so that's what we came up with for our display here. So I'm going to clear coat this. I'll be right back. Let me hit this with a hairdryer to dry that glue. I absolutely love this blow dryer. Hit this with a clear coat and I'll be right back. As you can imagine, one can of clear coat goes pretty quick around here. It's important to have a decent coverage and to let that acetone-based clear coat dry a little bit before you hit with the air gun to make it really cure. You can let it air sit for about an hour and it'll cure pretty good unless you've over-drenched what you're working on. You want to get your piece with the best glass. This one is not one of my best glass. Oh, it's plastic, but you know what I mean. So we have it there. And there you go. You have a display for your minis. You can get a pen or whatever and write their name, or print it out and put it on there with some glue. I'm probably going to freehand it with a marker. Let me see if I have a thin marker down here. I have a Sharpie. I don't know how good it writes, or if it writes. It writes really thick. I got a regular pen. I got a Sharpie here. Let's see how this one looks. Too thick. Yeah, I'm just going to do it with a regular pen. I think is probably the smartest way to do it. I'll write his character name on there. But anyways, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something. Let's peel the glue off that magnet on the bottom. Maybe. It can stay. I'll pull it off another time. So anyways, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great night.